Hey guys, it's me Seren, back with another video. I'm here with my DC proper shirt on. Hope you guys can see it. Northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. Hopefully you guys can see that. But I am back for day 2 of Hidden Figures. It is February 2nd, and today's hidden figure is Marva Collins, who I decided to go with because this past Sunday we did watch the Marva Collins story, which stars the recently departed Cicely Tyson as Marva Collins. Before we watched this movie, which was suggested by a subscriber, and it is available for free in full on YouTube, so I will include a link for anyone that wants to check it out. But until this movie was suggested after Cicely passed recently, I had never heard of this movie and I had never heard of Marva Collins. So I really enjoyed the movie and I decided to make Marva Dolores Collins today's hidden figure. So Marva Collins was born August 31st, 1936 and died June 24th, 2015. So she passed fairly recently and she was an American school teacher. Collins is best known for creating Westside Preparatory School, a private elementary school in the impoverished Garfield Park neighborhood of Chicago, Illinois, which opened in 1975. Collins was born in Monroeville, Alabama, to her mother, Bessie Knight, and father, Henry Knight, who was a successful businessman who owned a funeral home and grocery store in the Black community of racially segregated Monroeville, Alabama. He read literature, newspapers, and poetry with Marva each night, and she also often helped him open and close the grocery store that he owned. Collins went to a strict elementary school in a one-room schoolhouse in Atmore, Alabama, an experience which influenced her later in life. In 1957, she graduated from Clark College, now known as Clark Atlanta University, in Atlanta, Georgia, with a degree in secretarial science. And she became a teacher when she couldn't find work as a Black secretary, returning to Alabama to teach typing, bookkeeping, and business law at Monroe County Training School. In 1959, she became a medical secretary at Mount Sinai Hospital in Chicago, Illinois, but she soon returned to teaching, joining the Chicago public school system and teaching second grade at Delano, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, Delano, I don't know, elementary school. Collins became a full-time substitute teacher in the inner city Chicago public school system, where she worked for 14 years. She became frustrated with the classroom approach at the public schools, disliking the Board of Education's teaching guide that drilled skills without teaching students how to think for themselves. Collins developed her own teaching methods using phonics to teach reading, incorporating literary classics and poetry into the curriculum, and using positive rather than punitive discipline to address misbehavior. The teachers' union and public school bureaucracy departments were extremely hostile to her independently developed pedagogy, and Collins faced increasing harassment in the school system until she resigned. In response, Collins decided to take $5,000 from her own teacher's retirement fund and start a private school in the top floors of the brownstone in the West Garfield Park neighborhood where she lived in 1975. She named it the Westside Preparatory School. It began as a one-room, multi-grade private school and opened its doors to 18 students from impoverished families in September. Some of the first students included her own son and daughter, along with several neighborhood children, some of whom were also considered learning disabled. Basically, they were like, these little ghetto Black kids, they can't learn, we don't care, bye. The one-room schoolhouse of her education influenced her methods at Westside Prep, as she felt time spent with students building confidence and academic curiosity was more valuable than drills and memorization. Collins developed high-level curriculum for students aged 3 to 13, beginning each year with essays such as Ralph Waldo Emerson's Self-Reliance and fables such as The Little Red Hen. Students then moved on to poetry and dialogues, and by second and third grade were reading and discussing William Shakespeare's plays. She helped students to integrate lessons from different works and different disciplines, attempting to initiate a kind of organic discussion that she said helped students see the flow of knowledge. And I'm using quotations because those were her exact words, that she's trying to encourage them to see the way that knowledge flows from sort of one discipline to the next. Westside Prep became an educational and and commercial success, despite the fact that Collins repeatedly clashed with the local government and refused to take money from government programs so as to avoid bureaucratic rules and regulations. She insisted that her students be tested in order to prove her methods worked with the unteachable children of the ghetto, administering Stanford Binet tests that showed all of her children improved significantly in reading and math, scoring anywhere from 1 to 5 years above their current grade levels on the standardized exam. In the 1980s, President Ronald Reagan sought to nominate Collins for the position of Secretary of Education due to the success of her teaching methods. However, Collins took herself out of the running for the position, preferring to stay in the classroom in Chicago. In 1983, Reagan cited Collins' work during an unveiling of a national program to combat adult illiteracy in the United States. By 1991, Mrs. Collins was training 1,000 teachers each year on her methods of instilling pupils with a love of learning and an ability to think critically. In 1996, Collins was hired to supervise 3 Chicago public schools that had been placed on probation, and she specifically requested the schools with the worst academics and lowest parental involvement, and in only 6 months improved the rating of 2 of the 3 schools by 85%. Collins received the first Lifetime Achievement Award from the Monroe County Heritage Association during Black History Month in 1994. That same year, Prince featured Collins in his music video for The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. He also donated $500,000 to the Westside Preparatory School Teacher Training Institute, which was created to teach Collins' teaching methodology. Collins trained more than 100,000 teachers since the opening of the Westside Preparatory School. She's received more than 40 honorary degrees and in 1982 was honored as one of the legendary Women of the World. Collins' success attracted national attention, and she and the Westside Preparatory School were profiled by 60 Minutes, Good Morning America, Time, and Newsweek. And she was also the subject of a 1981 television movie, The Marva Collins Story, starring Cicely Tyson as Collins and Morgan Freeman as her husband Clarence. And why the garbage is going by at this time, I don't know. In 2004, Collins received a National Humanities Medal, among many other awards for her teaching and efforts at school reform. The Collins methodology, according to the National Endowment for the Humanities, advocated a core curriculum that emphasizes phonics, reading, English, math, and classics. That's a direct quote. Collins and her daughter ran her school for more than 30 years until it closed in 2008 due to lack of sufficient enrollment and funding. However, schools worldwide continue to use Mrs. Collins' teaching techniques known as the Marva Collins method. Marva Collins passed away on June 24th, 2015 at the age of 78. And a quote that I want to read you guys is this: "There were people around me in school who thought if you were Black, you couldn't achieve certain things," Collins told the Press Register in a telephone interview. "They said to me, 'I don't know who you think you are, but I know who I am, and it never occurred to me that I was not endowed equally.'" Marva Collins, a hidden figure. Of course, there will be more links and information in the description box. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys tomorrow with our third hidden figure. Food for thought as always. See you guys next time. Peace.